Hey family, welcome back for another episode of Lunchbreak Chronicles Podcast. I am so glad that you guys stopped back by to hang out with us for your lunch break. Yeah, it's lunchtime. It's lunchtime. I hope you all are taking your breaks, wherever you are, that you are pausing for just a few moments to take care of yourselves, to have a meal, to have a light snack, whether that is physical food or spiritual food, that you guys are taking a break, that you're resting, not just sleeping, but that you are resting and that you are taking care of yourself. So I am excited that you all are here. I am Aisha Morgan. I am your host for this podcast episode. I'm also a licensed professional counselor here in the state of Texas, and I am a certified Christian life coach. So today, what we're going to be focusing on during this episode today is overcoming people pleasing. Yes, we are talking about overcoming people pleasing behaviors today. Okay, y'all ready? Let's get going. Let's get going. So, why are we talking about people pleasing today? Well, first and foremost, as you all know, I think I might have said it in previous episodes, Journey to Life Counseling and Community Services is a counseling private practice that the Most High God has gifted me, has blessed me with. A lot of my clientele are women, and but even more so than that, I work with a lot of people that I'm finding myself encouraging to overcome people pleasing, right? So I thought it'd be fitting for us to talk about it a little bit today during our episode. And what I want to do is maybe go over a little bit about, where does people pleasing come from, and talk about some strategies on how to overcome it. Okay? All right, let's get going. So first and foremost, people pleasing can stem from quite a number of things. In my practice, I find that a lot of the individuals, the women that are reporting, having some people pleasing tendencies, it may stem from a traumatic experience. What we know with trauma, there are certain types of responses, and there's a type of response called fawning, Fawning. And it is a people-pleasing trauma response where people work to gain the affection and admiration of those they fear in order to survive. Yeah. So a lot of times after traumatic experiences, people tend to look to admire and to please others as a way to be able to cope with or survive the traumatic experience. Okay. Another way people experience people pleasing tendencies is because of fear and anxiety. Some may fear that they will be rejected or fear that they will be abandoned, right? Some may engage in people pleasing behaviors to reduce tension or to avoid conflict in relationships. Have you ever heard, I don't like confrontation, right? And some people, to avoid having a confrontation, they may, withdraw or not be so apt to speak up, not be so apt to assert themselves or communicate what they may need or what they may want. They just may kind of go with the flow in order to make peace in that particular relationship. Okay. Some mental health disorders, some personality disorders contribute to people-pleasing behaviors. For example, I know of some dependent personality disorders that by definition alone, a lot of individuals with those conditions tend to depend on other people. As severe as their daily functioning, everything that they need, they have to depend on others for. And so that can kind of contribute to some people-pleasing tendencies. And also people struggle with low self-esteem. Those that do may not value their own needs, their own preferences. They may not place, right, what they want, what they desire, what they need above others. As a result, like I said before, they don't often advocate for themselves. But for the most part, in my practice, I do see it a lot in working with individuals to heal from their trauma, whether it is, childhood trauma, abuse, whether it is parentification. I do work with a lot of individuals that, as they were growing up, they might have had to take on a lot of responsibility within the family, within the household, amongst their siblings. I work with individuals that might have been, the eldest sibling and had to take care of their younger siblings. I work with people that might have been in a household where there was a lot of toxicity, maybe a lot of abuse, or maybe a lot of mental illness or substance abuse conditions going on. I work with individuals that may have had to provide care for their parents. I work with individuals that might have struggled a lot growing up, and maybe they had to go the extra mile to prove to others that they were just as good as someone else, or they might have tried to overachieve, or just to go over and beyond, just to have a parent say good job, right? And as a result of that, they found themselves as adults still duplicating the same type of behaviors, right? Okay. So really quick, let's talk about a few strategies to help you to overcome. If you find yourself in this spot, in this space, if you know, hey, I'm guilty of people pleasing, please don't be discouraged. Please don't be discouraged. The degree in which people engage or involve in these type of tendencies is different for different people, right? And so I don't want you to feel discouraged at all. I think it's important that you see yourself in some of the things that we're talking about today so that you can heal and overcome. All right? Okay, let's jump right into it. So these are some strategies to help you to overcome if you've identified, hey, I'm a people pleaser. All right? The first one is acknowledging the behavior. A part of acknowledging a behavior is being totally aware as to what the root of the behavior is. I just gave you a couple of examples as to where people pleasing can come from. It's important that you know where it comes from in your life. It's important for you to know when it started, why did it start, how did it start, and that you actually go back. It's important for you to be aware of those patterns of behavior that might have contributed to people pleasing. So I'd encourage you to think back on, when did it all begin? When did you find yourself longing for the affection or the approval or the affirmation or the validation of others? And why was that? How young were you the very first time you found yourself being in a position where you felt like, I have to please somebody else, right? Go back there and listen, in my practice, I do a lot of work with individuals that have experienced and gone through trauma in their lives. And so if you need assistance with being able to navigate that, right, I would encourage you to seek support of a therapist, a licensed therapist, or a counselor that can help you to go back, right, and uncover, right, some of those circumstances, some of those times in your life, in order to get to the root, right? In order to get to the root. People pleasers often grow up with parents who base their love and approval on compliance and behavioral expectations. And as adults, the patterns can continue as they have a need for constant approval, and that need seeps into their professional, romantic, and even platonic relationships, right? And it's not every people pleaser grows up with parents for which they have to try to earn their love and earn their affection. So hear me clearly. This is not everybody, right? However, it does happen for some. Okay? Another way is by self-reflection. Take the time to reflect on those people-pleasing tendencies. Recognize when you feel compelled to please others, right? And then journal about it. As I always encourage my clients to do, journal about it, right? People-pleasing often involves histories of anxiety, depression, trauma, or emotional concerns that contribute to low self-esteem and low worth, right? People who often find themselves people-pleasing go along to get along. They go along to get along. They are super agreeable, right? They fail to disagree often, and they fail to advocate for themselves or speak up for themselves, right? They look for external validation to fill the holes inside that requires inner work and self-love. Yeah. Speaking of self-love, did y'all catch my t-shirt? If you can't see it in its entirety, it's called the Self-Love Club. Okay, let me continue. All right. Another strategy to help you to overcome people pleasing is to identify those triggers, right? Understand that these triggers can help you prepare and alleviate them in the future. I am huge on awareness. It's hard to understand or even heal from certain behaviors that you're not aware of what's causing them, right? Awareness is everything. We have to know, right? Some of us, we have to know too much, but for the sake of this topic, it's important for you to know. It's important for you to know where it all began. It's important for you to know in what situations, even as an adult, do you find yourself wanting to people please. Okay? All right, the third strategy, this is probably my favorite, set clear boundaries, right? Define your limits. You may be a people pleaser if you fail to set boundaries with others. You may want to be as helpful as possible, then you feel bad for saying no, right? Maybe somewhere in your past, somebody shamed you for setting boundaries, or maybe I often hear people say they don't take me seriously when I set boundaries. But it's important in order for you to overcome people pleasing that you do set these boundaries, right? Individuals that struggle with people pleasing often overcommit to activities or responsibilities that others expect of them or even request them to do, right? Whatever the case, people-pleasing tendencies often interfere with your ability to express your own limits and expectations with others. It hinders your ability to care for yourself. Now, listen to me clearly, and I think I might have said this, I know I might have said this in previous episodes in the past, right? I am not talking about not caring for others. I am not talking about not doing for others. I am not talking about not being kind or not even going out of your way. I'm not even talking about sacrificing, the things that you may want to do for the needs of others. I'm not talking about that. That is perfectly okay. I believe what we're talking about here is an extreme, right? It's one thing for me to go over and beyond to care for others. It's another thing when I can't see that doing so very well may be hindering me. What do I mean by that? When I am in need, right? When it's imperative that I may be hurting or I may be going through something that requires, some personal attention for my own life, but yet I can't say no to you because I'm afraid of what you're going to think and what you're going to feel, even though saying yes to you is going to cause me some distress, right? That's a problem. That's a major problem. It's a major problem, okay? Clearly identifying what your personal limits are regarding your time, your energy, your emotional investments, and let's be real, your financial investments, right? It's important that you set boundaries about what you're able to do and what you're not able to do, right? I often, one of the biggest examples that I come across in my practice is people who struggle with saying no to others when they know full well, right? Saying no is what needs to happen. For example, someone asks you to borrow money and you clearly do not have it. You don't have it to give. Or it's not in your budget to give. Or if you give it, it's going to cause you some problems in your finances, right? But yet instead of saying no, we find ways to talk ourselves out of what we need, but into what you need, right? Right. Now, I did an episode before on boundaries. I did an episode before on how signs that you need boundaries, and I'm going to link it to this episode here. I'm going to put the link in the description section below. So I want you to refer back to that, right? If you don't know whether or not you need boundaries, go back to that. We went through several signs that you could maybe recognize, to help you to recognize if in fact you need those boundaries in your life. Okay. All right. Practice saying no. Say no. Saying no when appropriate. Saying no when it's appropriate, I'll get back to that in a second, demonstrates a healthy respect for yourself and is necessary in a relationship. I say saying no when it's appropriate. Why do I say that? I chuckled because one of the things I laugh about in working with people with setting boundaries and maintaining boundaries is when you first learn how to set boundaries for yourself and you first learn how to say no, it feels good, right? And sometimes I like to describe it as kick down the door with that saying no. Sometimes it's no to everything. Right? And I just want to caution you about that as well, too. It may not be no to everything, but it definitely needs to be no to probably a lot of things. Okay. So saying no, practice saying no is a strategy. A typical people-pleasing behavior is never refusing to lend support despite how it makes you feel, despite the harm that you feel, right? Despite the inconvenience that you may feel, or despite the stress and hardship it may cause you, right? Saying yes to everything is an unhealthy pattern that can overwhelm you and cause resentment, right? I tell people all the time, when you say, yes to somebody else, you have to make sure that you're not inadvertently saying no to yourself, right? And to try to keep your finger on the pulse of, if I do this, am I doing this out of the goodness of my heart, or am I doing this because I feel maybe obligated or guilted into doing so? Okay. Start with small situations where you can practice saying no, or you can begin to express your needs, express your desires without feeling guilty. Okay. So start small. Start small. Don't rush out the gate. Just start small with your practice. Okay. Strategy number 4, develop self-compassion. Practice self-kindness. Treat yourself with the same type of kindness that you will offer somebody else, right? Acknowledge that it is okay to prioritize your needs. It is okay, but I think I ask myself often, why is it so hard, right? And I think a part of that is, and we may get on here, it may be on here later, but I want to go ahead and say it now. A part of that is we don't often value ourselves. We don't value ourselves. We don't value ourselves. We don't think that our needs are important. We don't think that our wants and our desires are just as important as someone else's. So I encourage you today to treat yourself with the same type of kindness and love and respect and grace that you would for someone else, because you do deserve it. You deserve it as well. You deserve it as well. All right, affirmations. Use positive, healthy affirmations to build your self-esteem and to reinforce the idea that your worth is not depending on pleasing other people. So right here, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are, and you have to know whose you are, right? You have to know who you are and whose you are, right? And I tell people all the time, you are valuable. You are valued. You are worthy. Yes, you are worthy of love. You are worthy of respect, right? You are worthy of peace, right? You are worthy to be able to sit down and take a break, if for no other reason but because you need a break, right? Yeah, you deserve it. You deserve it. Number 5, realign your values, right? Reflect on what's truly important to you in life and align your actions with your values, rather than seeking approval from other people. This one here, this next one, it's along the lines of realigning your values, right? But I've been talking about this all week, and I believe that I'm going to continue to be talking about it because I think it's important for us to really, really hear this, receive it, and put it into action, right? Prioritize yourself and prioritize rest, right? People pleasers often neglect time for themselves, and so they can always be available for other people, right? They immediately free their schedules and drop responsibilities when asked for favors, even when they finally get alone time to enjoy for themselves. You know somebody like that? Yeah. Are you like that? It's okay. It's okay. We're learning today. We're learning today. Yeah, people pleasers often, they negotiate. That's good. With the time that they have for themselves, if they have time for themselves at all. It's easy for them to give up that time and give it to somebody else, right? Even though they know that they need it, right? Even though they know that they deserve it. They might have spent all week trying to carve out some moments for themselves, right? But all it takes is for someone else to say, hey, could you come? Hey, could you do? Hey, could you just, and before you know it, they are giving up that time that they felt was so valuable for themselves. Yeah. Remind yourself that it's okay to put your needs first, and that doing so can really lead to you having healthier relationships and just an overall healthier life in general. Be intentional about scheduling time for yourself, right? For doing what you enjoy and for what you like to do. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I am convinced that a lot of people just simply don't know how to rest. When I ask people, hey, did you get you some rest? The first thing that they tell me is how well they slept or not. And I'm not talking about sleeping. I'm talking about resting, right? Taking time for you to stop being in motion, to stop moving around, to stop having to do, to stop having to go here, having to go there, right? Take that time to slow down, to stop and rest. And that looks different for different people, right? It looks different from different people, and that's okay, right? Resting isn't always a trip or a vacation, because let's be real about it. Not everybody can afford to do that, right? If you are, and you're on your trip and you're on your vacation, or you have one planned, go for it. Do it. But if you can't, don't be discouraged. Find other ways for you to be able to rest, right? For you, resting may look like grabbing your favorite folding chair and sitting out in the middle of your yard when the sun is out and just soaking in the sun, right? Resting may be lying back on your bed with some soaking music playing and nothing but silence, right? Resting can be different, can look different for different people, right? And for me, doing nothing for me is my favorite, is my favorite thing, right? Is my favorite thing when I think of resting. When I think of resting, I think of I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to have to be pulled here or pulled there, right? I don't want to talk. I don't want to have to come up with a solution, right? I don't want to have to think. Y'all know what I mean. You know what I mean when I said that, right? Resting looks different for different people. But nevertheless, I am encouraging you, and I hope to encourage you to prioritize yourself and prioritize your rest. Again, you deserve it. See rest as an essential part of all that you do, and not just something that you get to do if you have time. I'm going to repeat that again. See rest as an essential part of all that you do, and not just something that you get to do if you have time. No, 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 no. You have to make time. You have to take time. All right? All right. You have to see your wellness as vital and valuable to you first, if to nobody else. Right? Okay. Okay. Number 6, practice assertiveness. Use I statements. Using I statements is a communication technique that helps you to focus on communicating your feelings and your needs, right? For example, I feel overwhelmed and I need some time to myself, right? I feel overwhelmed and I need time to myself. Or I need a break, right? So using I statements help you to focus on what you need and being able to communicate it in that way. All right. Also, role playing. Role playing are ways to help you to practice assertive communication with a trusted friend or with a therapist in order to build confidence in being able to express your needs. Right? So get with somebody that you trust and just kind of talk it out, role play it out. If you're not quite sure if you should say no to a particular person in a situation, role play it out. Role play it out. I love role playing. All right. All right. Number 7, challenge negative beliefs, right? One of the most common signs of people pleasing is feeling anxious about the opinions and the feelings of others. Those feelings often stem from insecurity. You may fear people perceiving you, in not a good light. You may feel like people may not like you, or that they may have something to say and you don't want the back and forth. So you conform your behaviors to fit into a box and to overshadow your true self. So basically what you do in those moments is you become so concerned about what they may think, what they may feel, what they may say, that you take what you think and what you feel and what you want to say and you put it over here, right? And in essence, it's denying yourself. Right? It's denying yourself. So I would like to encourage you to examine any thoughts, any emotions, any beliefs that you may have that tend to drive that people-pleasing behavior, right? We talked earlier about knowing the triggers, right? And knowing those situations, right? Yeah, any thoughts, any emotions, any what we call in therapy land, any false beliefs, right? Know what those are. Know what those are. For example, I must be liked by everybody. Oh, really? Okay. Or how about this? I need to make others happy in order to feel worthy. Right? Right. Okay. So just look at that. Look at that. Work on reframing these thoughts into thoughts that are healthier, thoughts that are positive, and thoughts that maybe even be more empowering. So if you can't do that on your own, this is where I encourage you to get with either a friend, a family member, someone you can trust, even get with your therapist or a coach if you have that, somebody that can help you to see another perspective, right? Okay. And then finally, number 8, seek support. Seek support. Surround yourself with people who love you, who support you, and who share your wellness values, whether those be family members, friends, church members, or even coworkers. Find you a therapist, find you a counselor, someone that you could have regular check-ins with, and engage with open communication, open conversations as it relates to overcoming these types of behaviors. All right. Find you somebody that's going to help you. Find you someone that's going to say, no, that doesn't sound right. Right. Find you someone that's going to tell you the truth. Right. That's going to tell you the truth. And that's going to say to you something like, you think what about your own, what about what you want to do, right? What about what you think is important, right? What about, if you don't want to do it, it's okay, right? Find you someone who's going to encourage you along these lines, because I'm telling you, it's challenging. It can be very challenging to unlearn some of these behaviors. But like I tell my clients, and like I tell anybody that I know of who's dealing and with these type of behaviors and tendencies, it's not gonna be overnight that we heal from this. Now, let me say this: the Most High God has the power, right, to heal just like that, right? However, sometimes changing is a process, right? Healing can be a process. It can be a journey, right? It may not happen overnight. So don't be discouraged. It didn't start and happening overnight, right? It happened over time, right? So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some practice. It's going to take intentionality, right? It's going to take your desire and your willingness, right, to overcome. Okay? All right. I hope you all got something out of this episode today. I truly hope that it blessed you. I ask that you do us a huge favor. Please subscribe to our channel. We want to get our subscribers up. Please hit the thumbs up. Give us a like so that the algorithms can do whatever the algorithms do, right? Share this episode with someone that you know may be a people pleaser, or maybe struggling with trying to overcome these tendencies and behaviors, and that you think that maybe this video may be an encouragement and a blessing for them. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. I really, really value your feedback. It helps us out a whole lot. And then also click the notification bell. Make sure that you are alerted whenever we post our next episodes and they become available. If you are residing in the state of Texas, if you are in need of a licensed counselor, therapist here at Journey to Life Counseling and Community Services, we are accepting new clients. Look in the description section. You'll see our website. You'll see our email. Go ahead and visit our website for more information on how to get started with services if in fact you are interested. Okay? I thank you all so much. You all take care. You all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Shalom.